Okay, and we can see. All right. So I just want to I just want to go over this, okay? And the only thing I want to point out is that if you're not white label, the only thing that's different is going to be that you don't have this item right here. And let me see if I can turn on my highlight for my mouse so you guys can see it better. And so we're going to go ahead and start with the white label settings. I'm just going to fly through it. So pretty much the white label settings, that's for those of you that are on the white label plan that plan on reselling. We have this in our black label because we want to monetize Flowtrack, right? And we get to control and put our logos here, and all the web pages have Flowtrack, made by Flowtrack, or in our case, powered by Agency Remix is how I worded it in ours. And I just love that I have that control. And just to have this option is fantastic. Advanced is for you advanced people. We do get a PWA mobile app. If you don't know what that is, you can look it up. It is a mobile app that installs on the phone. It does work differently than your traditional Android store, Google Play Store, and then of course your App Store with Apple. But it does put an app that is branded to you on your sub accounts for those of you that have clients that pay you to use their own system. Navigation, I love this. I had to pay a developer to do this, what I can do natively here in Flowtrack in another system. In that other system, we had to do CSS, we had to do JavaScript. Here, we have the ability to change our color scheme. And then these items are the same items over here. And what's really cool is that we can go in and choose our icon. I'm not going to change it. Change our color scheme. We can, like all of ours, because our color scheme is orange and black, we went orange and black, but you can brand it to you, okay? And then over here, these items actually can be for, if you sell other stuff, you can link it to another website. You know, I'd also like to add that we can add custom menu links here, right? All I have to do is hit plus, and we can create our own menu item and link it to an iframe so it looks like it works in your system, okay? Really cool feature. Then we have our color scheming of various items. I'm just gonna breeze over that. Packages, one of my favorite things in Flowtrack is the ability to create unlimited amount of packages. In my old system, I can only have 3. And what is extra special is that we can control limits before we charge more. For example, if we only wanted to have a starter package for, and I'm going to make up a stupid low number of $20, you may only give 100 contacts or 1,000. We can do that here. And in other systems, it's the only way you can customize things is by turning features on or off. And I found that limiting because in this case, maybe I only want to give a chat widget, but I don't want them to connect it to other channels. Or I don't want them to connect a bunch of emails. Maybe that's in a higher plan. We can do that here. And then what's really, really special is that each package can be assigned to a blueprint, which is how we can install templates. So you can have a package for one type of business. I like window tint shops because that's the business that my family is in. So I could have a package just for window tint shops and it automatically installs all the templates I build for them just here. But I can have a different one for a truck accessory shop or a doctor's, and I could have different blueprints. So this is really, really powerful. It comes with your system emails where we can customize them here. You know, one of my biggest pet peeves in other systems is that when I couldn't control the emails. In a lot of cases, I couldn't even turn them on or off. You know, I didn't have the control that I have here. Here are where we build our blueprints, which are our templates to be able to be passed down. And then of course we get to brand it with our own domain, right? So that's the white label menu, okay? We have our chat. The chat is able to connect to multiple inboxes, right? One of my favorite features in the chat is that I can create a separate chat widget for support, put that in one page, and then create a separate chat widget for sales. And so they're all segmented instead of being limited to just one chat, right? And then we also can connect the chat or unified inbox. I know Facebook's coming soon. I can't wait for that. I know Mike heard that. A bunch of other channels are coming, but what I really like is that we can connect our email inboxes. And if you're proficient, you can even use the API to create a custom channel. Okay. Going a little deeper, I'm not going to go too far. One really nice feature is that you can create teams. So let's say you have a customer service team. Well, that chat widget can only be accessed to the customer service team. So you could segment. Remember, the problem that I had earlier is that I had a hard time segmenting it for clients with multiple locations. Over there, you'd have to create different sub accounts. Here, I can put this chain of 4 banks in here, right? So really, really cool. Calendar just got a huge upgrade. I don't have anything set up, but the calendar allows you to be able to check multiple places. Like I personally have, oh my God, maybe 10 Google calendars for all the different businesses that I'm involved with. I like the fact that when Lisa has her calendar, I have mine, that we can create another calendar where, let's say it's a high profile client, we can send them that link and it's going to check all of our calendars to make sure we're both available and only show those times. Love it. And then I haven't played with it yet. I was looking at it today. I know there's a lot of built-in features to do notifications that I used to have to program, but it's built in here. So it's actually a very well thought out calendar system, in my opinion. In fact, in my old system, I didn't use the native calendar. I was paying a dedicated calendar software, and I just recently canceled. And I have a few weeks to move everything over, and I'm going to exclusively use the Flowtrack calendar. Okay. The contacts, this is where all of our people are stored, and we can search and create our list based on tags. So maybe you have a newsletter list. Maybe you have a VIP list. You just tag them, do a search, and then you can select them all to send an email or add them to a flow, which could be a combination of emails and text messages, or just one or the other. That's how we manage our lists and do our database reactivations and so forth. In here, we have probably my favorite form builder of all time. I have to go in here because I just love working in it. I actually like building forms, which is not my normal speed, guys. It's just real click and drag. Click and drag. I love it. There's some controls in here that are very granular where you can require them or not. But my favorite is that you can show or hide a question based on an answer. You know, like for example, if I create a radio button, I'm just going to do it real quick so you could see. And then I'm going to create another text field. I'm going to go into this radio button, and let's just say we have yes, no, right? And no. And then over here, I want this to show up only when that answer is yes. So I'm going to choose true to make it show. I'm going to do the radio button, and it's going to be yes. Okay. And then when we save it, check this out. Love this. When we type yes, well, if I did it right, when we type, let me check the value real quick. I was going too fast. And let's see here. Oh, that's why. The default. So now, save. And then when I refresh it, check it out. Boom. And so we've been able to build really, really complex forms that are easy for the end user. You know, huge fan of the form builder. Okay. And then we have pipelines. So the pipeline builder is really, really powerful. It can help with onboarding, tracking the lead stages. I just like how simple it is to be able to add lanes, click and drag things over. It's just fantastic, right? Automations, which is where I spend most of my time because it's the most fun for me. is I'm just going to go ahead and do it. We have automations where we can do all kinds of cool stuff, create the pipeline item and so forth. We can sell packages, create users. We have the ability to install a template if we want, if it's in our agency account. They can just sign up on our form and it'll automatically give them their package, get their billing, set their password, all that wonderful stuff. You can connect it to these different integrations, Zapier, Pabbly. For you advanced people, there is an API. My favorite section is the logic. My favorite section is the logic. And we can do random, which is great for contests. We can make people go to different pages based on the answer of the form. So if it's a job application, if they're qualified, you can take them to the calendar if they answer a certain way, or you could say, we'll be in contact if they don't. It's just really, really awesome. For you scripters, you can do math and formulas in code and everything like that. We have our drip. There's just so much in here. And they're features that I didn't even know I wanted until I had them, right? And then, of course, we can send our SMS and emails. Huge fan. There's also an IVR phone system, which is really, really powerful. And that's this section over here. You know, we can create an automated attendant. We can send people to voicemail. We can create ring groups, which is something I didn't have in my last system. So the automation builder, I like that I can do more here. I can go in any direction. It's not like a Christmas tree. It's a blank canvas, right? So let me go ahead and get out of here. We have our website builder, right? And Lisa, that's her department, but because she's a web developer. But from my limited experience with web development, you know, I've used the ClickFunnels style stuff. I've used the high level builder, and you know, I always found myself never happy with my design skills, so I didn't get too deep. But when I jumped in here, I realized how much control it reminded me more of an Elementor, and maybe people would disagree, but being that you have so much more control in the web builder here. So I really see this as a platform that can build prettier websites. Takes a little bit of practice, but like anything, once you learn how to use the tool does more, right? And let me get rid of this. Then we have tracking. Pretty much this is just a fancy area for saying we can basically know where people are coming from and we can automatically add them to a flow. I don't spend a lot of time here, but I think it's cool. Here we can set up our phone system, and I've watched the video, and we can buy phone numbers, create ring groups and everything like that. We can see our call logs and voicemails. Really, really cool. We can create packages in the white label setting, but we can also create items. And so you can sell one-time items in this area, and it has coupons and everything. Like here's a coupon builder. We have our products. I personally don't spend a lot of time here, but I really, really think it's cool that it's here to be able to do this kind of stuff. And then we're back at the settings, and this was something I touched on. You know, you can connect lots of different payment gateways through authorize.net. I'm preferential to Stripe because it's easy, but you know, up until recently, you know, I didn't realize how many more options there were out there until you start realizing that most banks connect to authorize.net. So it's fantastic. And we've got a few other things. You can connect it to third-party software and so forth like that. And one of my things here is, remember, this is part of the granular control that I just found fantastic. In other systems, you can just turn on and off features with very little read-only, or you can't delete and stuff like that. And I just saw how much granular control we have here. For example, you know, you can create a web developer only. I mean, I've heard horror stories of people hiring VAs, and when you give VA access to certain systems, they have access to everything. They create a snapshot, or they can delete something they shouldn't. Here, we can turn things on and off. So if I was to have a web developer, I may turn all of this stuff off, but I may give them access to create forms. But I don't want them to delete it. I want them to edit it. And maybe that's what I do for the forms. And the same thing for the web builder, right? And there's a lot in here, so you can really build a role for each position that either you hire or a customer service agent for your customers. And this kind of control is fantastic. And then when you consider that new features are coming out all the time, in my old system, one of the things that frustrated me is that I always had to go into every user and choose whether I wanted to enable or disable depending on what was the default setting. And I had to do that 100, 1,000 times depending. Here, if I have 1,000 people with this role, I just edit the role and all 1,000 get the setting at once. So I'm a big fan of the roles and so forth. And with that being said, I mean, to me, that's Flowtrack. You know, there's a lot more to it, you know, and being able to position Flowtrack to solve problems is where it's at, right? That's how it is with every system. It's how businesses are built, you know, and some of those problems are, you know, a customer may say, hey, I don't have enough sales, which is another way of saying, I want more customers. I prefer to frame stuff like wants, if I can, into problems at the same time, because people want to solve problems. Problems can be irritating, you know, and if they don't have enough if they don't have enough sales or they want more customers, you know, I focus on the lead follow-up. So what do I do in Flowtrack? I create a simple form, and when that form gets filled out, and mind you, doesn't mean it has to be filled out by the customer. It could be filled out by the business, by the salesperson, by the tech support, by whomever. And they just say, let me get your info. They put it in, and the form triggers a flow, and they're done. So I would say, hey, you don't have enough sales? Hey, you know, let me ask you a question. What happens when people request information or they want a quote? And most businesses don't follow up. I say, hey, you know what? I can help you with that. All you need to do is fill out a form, and the system's going to check in. Like for window tint, we may create a drip sequence that goes over for a month. We hit them hard for the first week, then we just check in. And then our last ditch effort at 30 days does cross-selling and upselling. Hey, you know, just didn't know if you need anything. By the way, we don't just do window tint. We also have alarms. Let me know if you need anything for your car. You know, so if you have 1,000 leads and it's doing it 1,000 different times, it saves labor, it saves time, and it's more efficient. You know, another problem is the actual customer follow-up. You know, most businesses don't try to stay in local businesses, I should say, don't, after they take someone's money, that's it. They have to wait for the customer to come back because there's no proactive effort. You know, you want to make more money. Well, that's where it starts. Bring back your customers, and Flowtrack is perfect for that. Okay. So after a customer comes in and gets window tint, obviously I'm going to do the customer follow-up. You know, I may do the actual service. And what I mean by that is what happens in that customer journey. They become a customer. Let's do it. We're ready to book an appointment. Well, part of the customer follow-up umbrella is, okay, here's your reminder. So you show up. Well, that's a problem. Do you have no-shows, Mr. Customer or Mr. Business Owner? They may say, well, yeah, I have people no-shows. Well, I can help with that. All you need to do is go into my widget, put the book and time, and it's going to remind the customer for you. That's how I sell. It works, right? So after that, then we're going to, you know, maybe they drop off their car. Well, they can jump into Flowtrack and communicate easily to say your car's ready. You know, one of the biggest aha moments that actually got me into this is that our window tint shop, it actually, we were getting so many leads, we were calling them. If a business is not SMSing their customers, it is a huge opportunity. I can tell you this, think about when you frame it like this, when you have a business owner, you say, yeah, you call your customer, how many do you get on the phone? I mean, they just accept it for the reality. And I said, well, let me ask you a question. How many phone calls you don't recognize the number, do you answer? Most people would say not a lot, if any. I don't. I go, but how many unread text messages do you have? And most people are going to say, well, close to none. And then you say, well, you know what? People will respond to it. Our business almost doubled when we started, or our response rate doubled when we were able to start SMSing. And that's when I realized this needs to be in every business, right? That in and of itself, it's irritating when you're spending money for SEO and ads and you can't get in front of the people that want quotes. That is a pain point. Flowtrack can help with that. Don't you hate it, Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner? You know, you do the SEO, you do the leads, and then you can't get a hold of them? Yeah, I do hate that. Well, let me tell you how I can help you. And then you go into how many unread SMSs you have. So it's all about framing it around a problem. In a lot of cases, they don't even know. So I use questions to do it. Another problem is employees. Employees are getting hard to get. So if you go in and say, hey, you know, it's getting hard to hire people. Yeah. And I go, well, what if I can help your employees be more efficient, save labor? You know, my system's not going to call in sick. My system's going to do exactly what it's told. And you don't have to pay it a lot of money. I mean, even a $10 an hour employee costs you $2,000 a month. Well, my system can do all this work and it costs you $1 a day, $10 a day, whatever your price point is. Depends on the problem, depends on the business. But my point is, it's always going to be cheaper than a minimum wage employee. So when you structure, most businesses are having a hard time finding people. That's a problem. We have something that can help with that, right?